when people actually pay money for something, they're more likely to implement it.
When you're focused on the result that they're getting from your message, then you're not nervous anymore because it's not about you. It's about them.
To help them to remember how much they know, how much they can help people, and how much they have to give the world. And as long as you know things that they don't, as long as you know how to help them take steps that they don't know how to take, you can help them. Even if all you can do is help them take the next step in their journey, you can still help them. And sometimes being just one step ahead of them can actually be better, because you can still understand them and relate to them on a level that someone who's long ago left their position behind might not be able to.
We get so caught up in the accolades and in the feeling like we need to be somewhere else than we are, that we forget that where we are might just be exactly where we need to be.
Yeah, and who you are might just be exactly who you need to be, because different people have different personalities, different teaching styles.
When you know your value and your unique, speaking method, your unique gifts as a coach with exactly where you're at right now, the people who need you will be drawn to you, even if you're at a different place than somebody else and it doesn't seem like maybe you are as flashy as they are. That can be a benefit.
Self-image is a powerful thing. When we think of ourselves a certain way, it can be hard to let go of that. So be understanding it with yourself if it does take time.
You are the one that you've been waiting for. No need to knock open the door. Take the leap and be the dream.
Welcome to the Be the Dream podcast, where you'll find tools to help you gain the motivation to leap into a life you love. Hey guys, welcome back to the Be the Dream podcast. Today, our topic is coaching. We're going to talk about having the courage to become a coach. I know so many of you have longed to become a coach, but it takes so much, courage. It takes a lot of gumption to call yourself a coach and then to get paid to talk to people and to give advice and to use all the knowledge you have to really help people. So today we're going to talk to Stephanie O'Brien because she helps coaches, and she's really incredible with this. So Stephanie O'Brien has been helping coaches share their expertise with people who need them since 2013. She's the universal translator who helps transform confusing coach speak into tantalizing messages that get sales. She's also been the client of several coaches, some of whom have changed her life, while others left her feeling disappointed and ripped off. Now she uses her 10 plus years of experience with coaches and her 20 plus years of writing novels to help coaches and experts turn their expertise into in-demand coaching and training programs that get real results. She looks forward to giving you specific, actionable tips that you can start using right away. If you want to know what your clients are really interested in buying, check out her free guidebook, How to Pick a Coaching Topic That Sells. And we've got the link in the show notes so that you can go check that out and get her really incredible information there. You're going to love this episode. There's so much actionable advice to help you if you are just dying to become a coach and turn your knowledge into a profitable business. So let's dive right in.
Hi, Stephanie. I'm so excited to talk to you today because you teach coaches how to really step into their power and own who they are in this realm where a lot of people struggle to have the confidence to be, confident. So I would love to talk to you about how you can inspire people to be all of themselves and own their knowledge in this arena.
Thank you very much for having me. And yeah, it can be a challenge when you see this super successful guru and you're just starting out and you feel like, oh, I have to be like her, I have to talk like her, I have to market like her, I have to teach like her. And some people start questioning, is my info really good enough? Do I have enough info to make a really valuable course? Do I have enough to be a really good coach, or would people be better off with someone else? So yeah, I look forward to helping people get over that hurdle.
Right. Especially when you come across coaches who are like, you can do this. You can. I swear you have what it takes too. And then here they are with like, oh, I have millions of followers and I'm a billionaire and I have all these accolades that make me seem so high and mighty. And then they're like, you can do it too. And you're like, but really, can I?
Yeah. And one thing about the strategies I'm going to teach here is You don't have to get all those accolades and those appearances on media and such before you can start using them. They can be good to have, they can help boost your credibility, but they aren't mandatory in order to use these strategies.
Awesome. So tell us some about what that is and maybe about how we have more than we think we do.
So one exercise that I love taking my clients through, and I want everybody listening to this to grab a pen and paper or a notepad or a Word document or whatever, because I want you to take notes during this. So the exercise I like to take my clients through to really remind them just how much of an expert they actually are is first, write out a list of all the topics on which you have expertise, at least enough expertise to help people take a few steps toward reaching their goal. So if, for example, I have some information about how to create a coaching program, how to network in such a way that people are actually happy to see you there and you get actual contacts that move your business forward instead of just following up with a bunch of people and never getting a response. How to boost your confidence, how to overcome imposter syndrome. So my list might look something like that to start out with. So yeah, start out by listing the broad topics that you can help people with, that you know enough about to get results in that area. Now pick one of those topics, and you want to pick a specific result that you can help people get, like say, helping them turn their expertise into a coaching program would be an example for me. So list out the steps they'd take in order to get that result. You don't have to go into the really nitty gritty for this step. For this step, you just want to list out the broad steps. So for me, that would be doing market research to see if they have see if the topic they're thinking about creating a program around is in demand, and to see what kind of phrasing people use and what kind of priorities people have around that. Making time in their schedule to actually create their coaching program, a very important step many people miss. How to draw that content out of their head. And that's actually the step we're going into right now, is how to draw the content out of your head and actually get it onto paper. How to just choose the delivery method, how to price it, how to describe it. So that's an example of listing out the steps that you take your clients through or that you could take your clients through in the process of helping them get that result. Then take one of those steps and dive deep into it. Like, for example, the how to turn your content or how to draw the content out of your head and onto paper, so that all this stuff that's become second nature, all this stuff you might have even forgotten that and so that you can actually get that onto paper. And that's actually what I'm taking you through right now. So this is one of the steps in my process, and now I'm walking you through it in more nitty-gritty detail. Now I'm breaking that step down into sub-steps. And if you have to break it down even further than that, then once you've wrote down all those sub-steps, look at each of them and ask yourself, is this so specific, so self-explanatory, so step-by-step, that an alien who has never even heard of your field of expertise could follow it easily and know exactly what to do? If not, break that down even further. And I find that by taking one of your topics and breaking it down into breaking every step of it down into such extensive detail, you can draw out expertise that you'd forgotten you even had, stuff that had become second nature, stuff that you started to mistake for common knowledge. And you can really get a good look right there in black and white in irrefutable detail, just how broad and how deep your knowledge is and how much detailed information you have on how to help people. And of course, by mapping it out like that, you can see right there, okay, this is in fact an easy to follow step-by-step roadmap that people can use to get the results. And I find that can be really reassuring for telling you, I can in fact get people this result. I do in fact know how to help them.
Ooh,
that's one of the exercises.
This is so great. So when you have somebody who says, oh my gosh, I know nothing, because I think that's a block that so many people have, is they go, nope, can't think of anything. I'm stuck. I know nothing. What do I do? Where is this knowledge coming from? I'm feeling like it's coming from like lived experience and our over the course of our lives, we just have to adapt to our life circumstances, and we kind of figure things out as we go along. Where is this wealth of knowledge that we don't realize that we have? Where is it all coming from?
I'd say a lot of it is, as you said, coming from life experience, from having actually faced these issues themselves and overcome them, or from helping other people overcome them. Sometimes it's also from training. You've gotten training from other people on how to do this. So, I think it is best when that training is coupled with life experience, because otherwise you're just, regurgitating what somebody else taught you without really fully understanding the nuance of how to apply it. Like so many people try to give help to disabled people, but they've never been disabled themselves or talked to disabled people much, or, had a friend or family member who is disabled. So they're just, regurgitating advice that the disabled people have probably heard a million times, and that might not even be helpful.
Right.
So having that lived experience, I think, is pretty important for being able to help people in a level of nuance and with a level of compassion and understanding that someone who just trained in it with no extra experience would have.
So then why do we, undervalue our knowledge? What leads to us going, no, I don't really know anything, when we are actually maybe more competent than we think we are?
I think part of it could just be getting so used to our knowledge that we forget how special and unusual it is. It becomes second nature. It becomes part of our habit. It's just part of our daily routine to use this knowledge. So we forget that most people don't actually know this, or we just, don't think about how many details go into our knowledge until we actually do that exercise I gave and break it down and see, and you're right there in black and white. Oh, wow, I actually do know an incredible amount of details about this.
Yeah,
I
I
think
think
comparing ourselves to other people who've gotten bigger results or who are more open about how they've broken or how they've got this detailed knowledge, those people are more aware of the depth and detail of their knowledge, whereas if you haven't done this exercise, you might not be. So you might be comparing yourself to someone who is actually kind of on your level, but is just more aware of what they know.
I love it. So I am curious, what led you to teaching this? What was your story that led you go, I actually have a lot of knowledge about how to teach people how to discover that they have a lot of knowledge.
Part of it was actually experiencing it for myself. When I first started out in business, doing that exercise to break down, okay, what do I know that I can help other people with? And what all do I know about those topics I can help them with? Part of it was being a client of coaches, seeing what they did right, what they did wrong, why some of them helped me get results while others just left me feeling frustrated and ripped off. Working with coaches and seeing some of the challenges they had with drawing out their expertise and communicating it to people. And there's also the fact that I've actually been writing novels for about 20 years now. I actually wrote one. Yeah, so I've been writing pretty much ever since I can remember. And of course, the process of writing novels requires taking a huge amount of information, all these plot points, character arcs, the foreshadowing, logistics, all that, and keeping track of it and breaking it down into a step-by-step, well, not a step-by-step, a coherent flow that people can easily follow. So even though those are kind of two different areas of writing, the skill sets also translate.
Yeah, it's your superpower of
it's
keeping track of it all.
And the logistical details.
That's beautiful. I talk a lot about what's your superpower and how does it help you in every different area of your life. And that is just one of those things that has infused all of the areas of your lives, keeping track of a large amount of information and being able to keep it straight and being able to break it down. And that's really incredible. Do you help clients figure out their strong points so that they can then use that to help their clients or their future clients?
Yeah, I do talk with them to determine, okay, what is it that you've experienced? What's have you healed in your own life? How did you heal it? What makes your method of healing different from other people? How can you serve people in a way that other people can't? If they can serve people in a way, especially an underserved population, like one example I like to give is if you're a weight loss coach, do you help people who say are stress eaters and thus have a hard time sticking to usual diets, or who have a glandular issue that causes them to gain weight regardless of their diet? So if you serve a group of people that most other people don't, because you know something or have experienced something that most other people don't or haven't, that's an example of what could be your superpower. Or if you have life experience that it really helps you to understand people on a level that others don't.
Yeah. So it sounds like we're looking at what is it that you've experienced that you specifically, that because you've experienced, it so well that you can then turn around and teach somebody else. And having having that inside knowledge because of that particular vantage point, it becomes your superpower because you've lived it.
Yeah, I think, like I was saying earlier, I think that's more valuable than any training because you can understand it on a level of nuance that simple training won't give you. And, don't get me wrong, training is good. Training can be really helpful, but having that life experience gives you a depth of understanding that training alone can't give.
That is really, really beautiful. So what other advice do you give to coaches to help them step into that power, especially when they're feeling really nervous about, taking money, for example, getting paid for their services when they're like, no, this is just something I do. I just give advice for free. Wait a minute, how do I own this as a skill set I could get paid for real?
Well, a couple things to remind yourself of is, for one thing, when people actually pay money for something, they're more likely to implement it. If you get, how many things have you opted into, like newsletters, that you never actually read? How many books have we downloaded for free that you've never actually read? If they pay money for something, they're more motivated to implement it and actually get results and change their lives. And for another, one other exercise I take people through is I have them look at the impact of their coaching program or of their knowledge in every area of the client's life. So I'll use myself as an example again. If I can help somebody to create their coaching program in a way that fits their lifestyle, that frees up their time, that lets them serve as many people as they want in a lifestyle-friendly way, and of course that affects their business by letting them make more money and help more people. It affects their health by giving them more time to take care of themselves and more money with which to buy supplements or treatments or whatever that they need to stay healthy. It affects their relationships because now if they have more free time to work with their family or to spend time with their family, they can strengthen their bonds, they can make precious memories together. If they're more satisfied with their life and their work, then they're probably going to be happier and more pleasant to be around. In terms of lifestyle, if I can help them to tailor their coaching approach to their lifestyle, then they're going to enjoy their life more. Yeah, even though I'm not a health coach, I'm not a relationship coach, I still can help them in these different areas because of the indirect effect of my program. So I encourage people to look at what they do and see what is the problem that your client has costing them in every area of their life. These could be monetary costs or other costs, or these other costs like bad health issues could actually be causing monetary costs like reduced productivity at work. So this can help you get an idea of what's the problem costing the client and how much more will they make or save in money and other areas because they worked with you. And that'll help you to get a better idea of just how valuable this is.
Ooh, I love this whole idea because it really flips it on its head and says, wait a minute, it's not about you. It's about them. When you're getting, this is something I talk about as I'm teaching speakers, because I don't train coaches, but I do train speakers. And we talk about how if you're nervous on stage, it's because you're thinking about you and you're not thinking about how your message is serving it's serving your audience. It's serving the people that it's meant to serve. And when you're focused on the result that they're getting from your message, then you're not nervous anymore because it's not about you. It's about them. And that's exactly what you're saying here. And I love how that translates and how it's just so perfect because it really comes back down to that. It's not about us. It's about what we have to give and how it helps other people.
Absolutely, India. I've heard it said, I forget which of my mentors told me this, but there was a great point. Your sales call is actually your first coaching call because you're helping them to get a clearer idea of what they want, what it's worth to them, and whether they want to prioritize it at this time. You're helping them to get, if you're doing it right, then you're helping them to get more clarity. You're not pressuring them into buying something they might not need. You're just helping them to make the right choice for them.
Ooh, I love that. So let's dive into the self-worth piece then, because I'm sure that you talk to a lot of people about, oh, I'm not, worth investing in myself, or are my clients, how do I help them feel worthy of investing in themselves? That self-worth piece tends to come up a lot. How do you address that?
I wouldn't really say I have a blanket answer to that because it kind of depends on where the lack of self-worth is coming from. If they feel like they don't have enough content, I take them through that exercise I did earlier. If it's due to childhood trauma from being told that they're not good enough, that they'll never amount to anything, that they don't know enough, then I have to take a different approach to that. Now, admittedly, I'm not a therapist, so that's not my area of specialty, but I can help them to remember how much they know, how much they can help people, and how much they have to give the world. And one thing I remind people of is you don't have to know everything. You don't have to be able to help them through their entire journey to be able to help them. And you don't have to be the biggest expert in the room to help someone. Or no, sorry, I chunked it there. You don't have to be the biggest expert in the room full of experts to help someone. What you need to be is the biggest expert in a room full of regular people who don't specialize in your area. And as long as you know things that they don't, as long as you know how to help them take steps that they don't know how to take, you can help them. Even if all you can do is help them take the next step in their journey, you can still help them. And sometimes being just one step ahead of them can actually be better because you can still understand them and relate to them on a level that someone who's long ago left their position behind might not be able to. Somebody else who's 10 steps
Yes.
ahead of them might have forgotten what it's like to be at that stage of the journey, whereas you remembered acutely because you were just there.
Yes, I just watched this TED Talk that was like really powerful. And he was saying how he was a little kid and he was getting taught how to play the drums. And his drum teacher was like, okay, well, just do a drum roll. And he couldn't figure it out because his teacher didn't teach him he didn't break it down how to actually do the drum roll. He was like, no, just do the drum roll. And then somebody else, after weeks and weeks of struggling with it and feeling disheartened because he couldn't figure it out, was like, no, just break it down. Like it's just two and it's 2 plus 2. And then you build it and you build it and you build it. And then he was able to do the drum roll. And his teacher was like, you taught me how to teach somebody how to do the drum roll because you just break it down. And I had forgotten how to teach how to do it, because when you're so far ahead, you forget how to break it down and teach it because you're that far ahead. So that's so brilliant, is that sometimes it's an advantage to just be 1 or 2 steps ahead because you're still so, you're still so in it. You're still so empathetic to their plight because it's only been really recent.
Yeah, and you haven't gotten to that point where this stuff is so ingrained in second nature that you assume it's common knowledge. That thing I was saying earlier about assuming your knowledge is common knowledge. He assumed that a drum roll is and how to do it is common knowledge. But he forgot to explain it in enough detail that the person would be able to do it. And that thing I said about what if the kid was an alien who'd never heard of a drum roll? How would you explain how to do a drum roll to this alien?
Right. It's that ability to break it down because you're so, I don't know, in that zone of like, I just had to do it for myself. Now let me teach you how to do it.
Yeah. Now, one example I gave you is somebody's asking, like, how do I eat a watermelon? What do you mean? You just bite into it without checking in enough to find out why the person is struggling with eating the watermelon. Well, maybe you forgot to tell them you have to cut it open first.
Oh my gosh. I love that. That's brilliant. Yeah. And we get so caught up in the accolades and in the feeling like we need to be somewhere else than we are, that we forget that where we are might just be exactly where we need to be.
Yeah, and who you are might just be exactly who you need to be, because different people have different personalities, different teaching styles. And if you've ever tried to learn under somebody who you just didn't vibe with, you can find that even if you're both communicating as well as you can, the communication just doesn't flow. You might misunderstand each other on a regular basis. Whereas if you're working with someone you really do vibe with and who does kind of speak on your level, who's on your mental wavelength, then you understand each other so much faster and easier. So even if you're like, and just let's face it, you're never going to be the best person for everyone. Nobody is. When somebody says, mine is the best way or mine is the only way, the first thing they have communicated to you is that they're willing to lie to you. Nobody is the best for everyone, but you are the best for the people who fit your personality, who fit your style, who need what you have to offer and who fit your teaching method. So even if somebody is a way more accomplished coach than you, they still might be the wrong person for a specific client just because their personalities don't match.
Oh, bingo. Isn't that just it? When you know your value and your unique, like, I don't know, speaking method, your unique gifts as a coach with exactly where you're at right now, the people who need you will be drawn to you, even if you're at a different place than somebody else. And it doesn't seem like maybe you are as flashy as they are. That can be a benefit. I love this. It's so helpful for those who feel like they need to have more accomplishments before they can actually make money or before they can actually have clients and teach people.
Yeah, and sometimes that I have to make more money before I have clients. That's kind of the opposite. You need, if you're feeling unconfident and you're not sure that you're willing to charge what you can, one thing you can do is just offer some free coaching sessions in exchange for testimonials. And you do have to stipulate that testimonials are necessary because you do want to get compensated for your time. So yeah, have those free coaching sessions. And then at the end of that coaching session, before you even hang up, hit record on the Zoom thing and record the testimonial right there. And that way, it's not an extra thing on the person's to-do list. They're not going to forget to do it. And they can give you the testimonial while it's really fresh in their minds what they just learned. So this is a good way to get more credibility and to get some practice to tell yourself, hey, I actually do know how to help people. On that subject, I wanted to mention sometimes if you're just trying to think of, oh, what do I know without any framework, your mind can go blank. It's like being told, draw something. Whereas if you're told, draw an elephant, well, now you know what to draw. So one thing I found is don't pressure yourself too much to think you have all the answers right there on the spot while you're sitting there without context. There have been times that I've kind of felt like that when I started tripping myself out. But then when I actually start talking with someone and hearing about their problems and challenges, then the answers come flooding in. So don't judge your level of knowledge by what you're thinking about when you don't have any kind of input or any specific problem to solve. Judge yourself by what you do when you actually do have a problem to solve and how you react and what kind of knowledge comes to your mind then.
All right. My last question for you is, when you get to that point where you're putting it in your bio and you're like, okay, I'm a coach. And I see this all the time. We're like, I'm a speaker, I'm a singer, I'm a coach, I'm a mentor. That's their freak out point, right? Of like, I have to own that new identity of power and of like, oh, like that's it, that shift of like, I can do it. I have to own it and I have to put it in my bio and like say that I am that thing and I'm struggling to feel it. How do you help people own it and to declare that I'm a coach?
Yeah, what I'd do is I'd have them, relook at do that exercise I mentioned earlier and just look at this list of all the detailed knowledge they have and remind themselves, yeah, I am a coach. I am an expert. I am someone who knows all this stuff and who therefore has the ability to help people. And anytime they start to doubt themselves, yeah, I'm really a coach, just remind yourself how much you know and how much ability you have to help people with that knowledge and what kind of results you can help them get with that knowledge. And it might take practice. It might take time. You don't judge yourself for not instantly adapting to a new way of thinking of yourself. Because self-image is a powerful thing. When we think of ourselves a certain way, it can be hard to let go of that. So be understanding it with yourself if it does take time.
Yeah, I love that. And I think one of the things that has helped me in the past is like, wait a minute, I was already a coach. Even before I put it in my bio and I declared it, and before I like decided, it's like, wait, I've actually been helping people this whole time. I've actually, all those times when I was like doing it for free, all those times when I was just like sitting down with somebody and helping them work through stuff, that was coaching. That was doing it. Like, you were already a coach. You were already doing it the whole time, even before you realized it. You were already giving somebody so much like gold, and you just hadn't owned it yet. So now you get to own it.
Yeah, and if you're in that position where people are already asking you about something, that is awesome for starting your business as a coach, because now you're already known and trusted as an authority in this area. You're just starting to charge money for it.
Right. Mm-hmm. Amazing. Tell us how we can find you, how we can follow you and work with you.
Absolutely. My website is www.coachclientconnection.com. If you look at the contact page, you can see links to all my social medias. You can see the form to email me, form to schedule a call with me if you want to. So yeah, if you want to create a coaching program or turn your expertise into a training program, you're just not sure all the little logistical steps that go into that, I'd love to talk with you and see if it's a good fit for me to help you out. And if you want to schedule a call, my calendar is going to be right there. I imagine the links will probably be with this interview as well to make it really easy for you. So yeah, I'd love to hear from you in the near future. So thank you again for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much. This has been so helpful. Have an amazing day.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you for joining me for this episode of the Be the Dream podcast. In the show notes, you're going to find links about how to be a guest on the show, how to find my website, and anything special I have going on at the moment. Please share this with a friend. Let them know that you're thinking about them, and let's share inspiration with as many people as we can, because we can all use a little more motivation in our lives. See you next time. And until then, remember that being the dream is not about what you do, but about who you are.